Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Bashayir Al-Mashaan. I'm a general computer science student in College of Computer Science and Information Technology at Imam Abdurrahman bin Faisal University, and a member of the Developer Student Club that's powered by Google and the General Track. I'm delighted to have you all in this session today. I hope the outcome of this workshop will be fun for you to implement and help for you to implement in the near future. Okay, so the topic of today's presentation is data analysis, what's behind data. And before we get started with the topic, right with the topic and get into somewhat technical or statistical details, I want to know if you all have ever noticed how prices of services change overnight with no apparent reason. Okay, so let's take an example and say you want to book a hotel room. So we go to a website called booking.com, if you're familiar with that website, and you find a really good room for an excellent price. But then you go to the same website, booking.com, once again for the next day, and find that one hotel room that you liked and thought of reserving is now more expensive than the last time that you checked. And you start asking yourself, why did they suddenly raise the prices? Because you were on a tight budget and really wanted a specific hotel room. Well, as frustrating as that sounds, this is partially determined by data analysis, which is the topic of this presentation. Okay, so here's the agenda of this presentation. First, I will give you a brief description of what data analysis is, describe its methods, and also mention its significance to corporations. Then I will define the process of data analysis step by step and get you familiar with its stages. And lastly, I will introduce you to such an easy-to-use open source database management system, SQLite. Okay, so before we dive deep into the topic, let's take it step by step and first define data analysis in its basic and simplest terms. Okay, so what is data analysis? Data analysis is a process, a technique, and also a way of thinking. It involves inspecting, cleansing, transforming, and also modeling your data with the crucial goal of revealing useful information, drawing conclusions, and also supporting the process of decision-making. Many organizations actually rely on the analysis of data to determine factors, important factors, and also make decisions that could concern the employees and customers as well. So data analysis is a really important tool for every corporation. And same thing goes for the previous example for the hotel room, for the hotel booking room, or even for plane tickets. Data analysts that work for airlines or hotel rooms gather and collect data to discover certain patterns or relationships in a database full of their customers, destinations, time of booking, number of companions, age, and etc. And based on that information and based on that data, they decide how to raise or up or down the prices. Okay, so John Tukey, who's a data analyst and also a mathematician, once said that it is important to understand what you can do before you learn to measure how well to seem to have done it. And now this quote is very valuable because in a way it expresses how crucial it is to understand your data and get familiar with it before you start doing the heavy work or process. Okay, so let's put his quote through an example. Let's say you want to open a restaurant at a prime or a perfect location, and you want to decide on the menu and the visiting hours for the customers, like the preferred visiting hours. And to do that, you'll first conduct a survey. You don't only need to conduct a survey, let's say, or even interviews with the customers. Okay, so you do whatever you like to collect data, let's say a survey. And you want to understand your customers more. But you can obtain results from all visitors. Like if you have like 15 or 2,000, 1,500 or 2,000 monthly visitors, you cannot like interview all of them or send a survey to all of them. So you take a sample size, let's say 300 people or 150 people out of all those people, or the whole population, let's say, for your restaurant, of course. Now, after the collection of data is done, you interviewed your customers, you sent a survey or whatsoever. You're gonna make sure that your data has no errors, no duplicates, no missing values, or incorrect data. And now you can get to the most exciting and fun part, which is exploring your data. But how exactly are you gonna explore your data? Is it done through tools, software, or even much worse, is it done manually? You're gonna ask yourself all that. do we actually have to check value by value, row by row, column by column? Well, alhamdulillah, no, we don't need to do all that manually because it would have been a nightmare to do so. There are actually various tools, software, and also techniques that could help you explore your data in a meaningful way. That is also less time consuming, such as Microsoft Excel, let's say, for example, or even Google Spreadsheets, Tableau, or relational database management systems, in which I'll be introducing you to in a bit for SQLite. Okay. Now let's get to know some of the many methods of data analysis that are used for different sets of data for different goals. Okay, one of those being text analysis. Okay, so text analysis is also known as text mining. Some people actually confuse text mining with data mining, but the difference between these two is the presentation and structure of data are different. In text mining, it handles unstructured or unorganized data in form of text or textual data, we might say. But whereas in data mining, it only deals with only with structured data or highly formatted data. But the thing is, in text mining, it has a range of functions that turn those unstructured textual data into structured and useful information, in which enable you to do the data analytics. Okay, now in the statistical analysis, it is a process that analyzes data and also identifies patterns. It is also a method of using numbers to remove bias, and it actually tells a quantitative story, and which lets you see data in its most understandable form, and which that highly supports the decision-making process, because numbers never and ever lie. Okay, so there are many methods, but I'm only mentioning these three because they're actually significant. But the last one that we have in this presentation is predictive analysis. Okay, so in predictive analysis, this term actually refers to the use of machine learning, algorithms, and also statistics to make predictions about future outcomes or even performance. This type of data analysis uses the past, present, and sometimes only the past and present, but it helps you forecast the future by finding patterns and relationships. Okay, and I believe we've all been into a situation where we thought the solution of a certain problem that we faced is crystal clear, and we didn't need to think twice about it. But as we moved forward in life, and we actually realized that we chose and predicted the wrong solution and outcome. The thing is, this right here is what organizations try to avoid. And as clear as it might look, and as clear as it might get with time, organizations must apply methods of analysis to make sure not only by 100%, by 101% that whatever decision that will be taken, or whatever situation that might occur, they must always make sure that they're walking in the right track. And this is why data analysis and its methods have revolutionized many industries in a way that no one could ever imagine. So data analysis is really like wearing glasses or contacts. You use data analysis to see things better and more clear. Okay. So now let's talk about and explain the process of data analysis. Okay, so there are 5 steps of data analysis. First is define, second is collect, third is clean, fourth analyze, and last one is visualize. Okay, so in the define stage, before you start with anything, you must define your goal. You must ask your questions about your desired outcome, what solution you what problem you wanna solve, and what solution you wanna, what problem you wanna overcome, and what solution you wanna like solve or take. And you also must be clear and concise about that, because it is the base and the core of the whole process. Okay, now after defining your questions and priorities, now you start collecting your data, maybe through surveys, as we mentioned earlier, observations, interviews, questionnaires, whatsoever. Now, after data collection or the collect stage, we arrive to the third stage of this process, which is data cleaning or data cleansing. Okay, so in this stage, you're gonna make sure that your data is error-free by checking for missing values, duplicates, incorrect data, and so on. Okay, so now with the most fun part, in which we will be experimenting together, the analysis part or the analyzing stage. Okay, so now you have a wealth of data. You've spent your time cleaning your data. It's organized. It's organized as it'll ever be, and you're ready for the fun stuff. Okay, so in this step, you'll begin to slice, dice, cut your data up to extract meaningful insights from it, using the techniques and methods of data analysis, like the ones I've mentioned before, like Excel or Google Spreadsheets, SQLite, MySQL, and so on. Okay, so in this step, you'll look for hidden patterns or relationships to find insights and make predictions. Now you've come to the final stage, which is the visualization stage. Okay, now you're done with defining, collecting, cleaning, and analyzing your data. It's finally the time to interpret or visualize your data, either by charts, graphs, or really any pictorial form that you prefer. Okay. Okay, so now that we learned a bit and discovered what exactly is data analysis, we can apply our knowledge into an existing database using a relational database management system to find patterns and retrieve information. Okay, for that, I will be using SQLite. It's an open source software library. It uses the language C, and it provides a database management system. And the light in SQLite actually means that it's extremely lightweight in terms of setup, and also it's flexible. Most of the time, SQLite is used for mobile applications, and it's client side, which means that it's serverless and requires zero configuration. Okay, so now let's open up SQLite. Just wait a second. Okay, so to do that, I will open up dbeaver. It is a free open source and multi-platform for database management. And with dbeaver, you can actually, you will be able to access multiple databases for SQL editing. Okay, so first, okay, I'll show you how you can download the dbeaver. You're just gonna go to your Google Chrome, let's say. Type in dbeaver download, and make sure you're installing the community dbeaver, and just use your preferred operating system. Okay, and just like that, it'll run perfectly. Okay, and for reference, this is what it looks like. Okay, so now let's open up dbeaver. Okay, I have it right here. Okay, as I said earlier, I already have an existing database that I've downloaded into my computer. So in this workshop, I'm going to show you some techniques or some queries or commands or statements that you can use to play with your data. Okay, so just hit close. Okay, so you can see this little connection button right here. I'm going to select it and select SQLite. Then hit next. Okay, so I'm gonna browse for the existing database that I have. I think it's in my desktop. Okay, okay, there it is. Hit save. Okay, replace it. Okay, just let it sit in for a few seconds to make sure that all tables have been downloaded. Okay. So as you can see, the SQLite test.db is the whole database that I'm gonna work with. It has tables, views, indices or indexes, sequences, and so on. But for this workshop, I'm gonna be focusing on for table one. It's data set one. Okay. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to explore your data and get familiar with it, and with its values. And this can be done with a simple and basic statement, which is the select star statement. So let's say select, then hit star, then, okay, I'm gonna explain it just in a sec. Okay, from data set 1. Okay, just a second. If you guys have any questions, I'm here to answer. If anything in the presentation wasn't clear, just tell me right away. Okay, so it's select star from data set 1. Then, of course, don't forget the semicolon. Okay, there is no active connection. Okay, I'm just trying to, we'll try again. Okay, I think there's a problem with the, okay, so yes, before you're gonna hit the SQLite test.db, go to the SQL editor and open a SQL script. Okay, I think I forgot to do that step, so let's do it again. SQL select star from, okay, wait, select star from data set 1. And don't forget your semicolon, and there, yes. Okay, so in that simple statement, we retrieved all our data. Okay, so first, sometimes your code in SQLite would make much more sense if you read it from bottom to top instead of top to bottom. This statement right here actually means that from data set 1, which is the table right here, okay, select or view all columns, and by putting a star right here means that we're telling it to view all the columns of data set 1. Okay, so when we hit run, we have all the values that exist in data set 1. But let's say we only want the destination values. So let's say select destination from data set 1. And now we only have the destination column. We can also specify multiple columns. Let's say destination and passenger. Okay, and run. And don't forget to separate your columns by commas. Okay, so here. Okay, so this data set is relatively large and includes so many values and rows. And sometimes we only want to take a quick view over our data or deal with smaller batches, or just we don't want to overwhelm our computer. So what we can do right here is we can do limit. Okay, so we're gonna type in limit, and let's say we only want 50 records. So type in 50, and there we only have 50 records here. And what else can we do? Okay, so we can do the distinct command. Okay, so this next command that I want to show you is the distinct command. This command basically shows you the unique values inside every column by excluding the duplicates. So let's say select distinct here. Destination from the column destination from data set 1 here. So the unique values of the destination column are the no urgent place, home, and work. But when we remove the distinct here, okay, we can see that it has a lot of duplicates, and it's really never ending. So that's why you want to use the limit command. And the distinct command is really just another way of exploring your data set. Okay. So now let's say you want to view the information of passengers. Okay, so this, for context, this database is for an airline. Okay, so now you want to view the information of passengers who are traveling alone. And to use to do that, you can use the or implement the where query. Okay, so let's say select star, like take it back to the whole columns or whole data. From data set 1, where we said earlier that we want the passenger. Want to view the data of the passenger, where the passenger is traveling alone. So passenger equals to alone. Okay, there. So as you can see, the passenger only have the alone values. Okay, right here, only has the alone values, whereas the other columns contain all different values. And always remember to use the single quotations right here when referring to a value in a column, because the double quotations in databases are often meant for columns, not values or records. You can also use the AND operator. Let's say where passenger is alone and destination is, let's say, home equals home. Okay, hit run, and there. You can see that the passenger and the destination columns both have the certain values that we chose right here. You can also use the OR operator. It's just as easy as that. And now you have the basics of filtering and sorting out your data. Okay, so all right. So another cool command is the order by command. And what it does is it orders and sorts your data either by ascending or descending order. Okay. Okay, so let's try it. Let's say select star from data set 1, where, not where, sorry, where order by. Okay, so let's say, first, let's just check our data set. What can we do with it? Okay, so with order by, we can use, okay, so let's do it for the temperature. Okay, just remove that semicolon right here. Just remember that you need to put the semicolon by the end of the statement. Okay, temperature. Then run again. Okay, so you can see that the temperature here is in ascending order, and SQLite in the tool SQLite, it's always by default in ascending order. But you can also like just type in ascending, just to be more accurate, but it will get you the same result. And you can also do DASC, which is short for descending. Okay, as you can see, it started from 80. And that's just another cool thing to do. But okay, so the next thing is aliasing, and aliasing is used all the time. And what happens with aliasing is you're really just changing the names of these columns. And it's such a useful thing to do. Okay, so let's try it. Let's say select, okay, so select, let's say destination. Okay, so select passenger, since passenger is spelled wrong, as passenger. Passenger. Okay, I think I just spelled it wrong again, but let's just try it, okay? Okay, from data set 1. Okay, so here, as you can see, I changed the name of the column. You can use it to like do short characters, string of characters, which will be easy for you to retrieve your data. Like you don't need to type in the whole name of the column. Okay, so you can also use comments in SQLite, and it's very useful in all languages. But here you're just gonna type in a double dash, just like that. and it wouldn't, and it doesn't affect your code in any way. We can hit run again and it would work perfectly here. Okay, so now that we learned how to sort our data and filter out our data, now here comes the kind of more advanced part, which is aggregation. Okay, so aggregation is basically a way of grouping your data by a certain column. And you'll see in a bit that it's kind of similar to distinct because it basically takes all the duplicates of one column and groups them together in one row or one record. Okay, so let's do that. Let's say we want to do the group by. We do select. Let's do select destination and temperature. Okay, so to make it easy, just type in from dataset 1. So we have the automatic name of table of columns right here. Okay, from dataset 1. And let's say we want to group them by destination. Okay, hit run here. So we here have the, we group two columns and we have the distinct values of each column. And we can also use we can also use functions. Let's say we want to do the average here. So just gonna type in average for the temperature, for example. Okay. Okay, so here we have the average temperature for the three of destinations, for the home, no urgent plans, and work. So, for example, the destination home, the average temperature for all values of the home destination is 61.4. And this is actually a great and tremendous thing to do, or to implement in SQLite, because it's so easy and simple to implement. Versus this could be difficult or harder thing to do in other software tools or tools like Microsoft Excel. Okay, so another thing that we can do here is find the sum. Okay, just as easy as that, type in here the sum. And here we have the sum. For example, the sum of all values of the home destination is this large number. Okay, we can also do the count. Okay. Okay. The count shows you how many records are there. Same thing with the average and the sum. We just add parentheses. And that means that we have over 3,000 temperature records for the value destination in our whole database or data set for dataset 1. There are so many ways of aggregating your data. We can do count and distinct together. And this will show you how many distinct or unique temperature values for each of these categories right here. Okay, so the thing is, what we're doing with this whole aggregation or aggregation commands, we're basically crunching down data from thousands of records to something smaller, yet still meaningful in a way, and is still very useful. So aggregation is an amazing and powerful tool in data analysis because you can play around with large data sets. And there are a lot of commands and queries for aggregation, but I've mentioned the most basic ones. Okay, so one last thing that we can do for our database or data set is the union. We learned how to aggregate and select data, and another thing that we can do is combining data. We can do the union since it's easier, and you're basically all you're basically doing in the union is stacking two tables on top of another, just like that, and the vertically, but in the join you're joining them horizontally. Okay, So let's try and do the union. Let's say, let's remove all that. Okay. Let's say select star again for all data, for all values for the data set from data set 1. Now you're gonna, the unique thing here is in union is you're gonna type in union and then type in select again, because you're combining two data sets. One is data set 1, which is the one that we played around earlier. And the other one is the table to union that we have right here. We have 3 tables here, as you can see. Now let's say select star from table to union. Okay. Now, yes, if you're wondering what that D or that TTU here, it's the alias for both of those data sets, because you can type in from D instead of the whole data set, or TTU, and that's why aliasing is a helpful tool. Okay, so anyway, here I've run the program. It runs successfully. I've stacked 2 tables together vertically, or on top of each other. But okay, here I've executed the command here. Okay, once again, it runs perfectly. But how can we actually make sure that we did it? Okay, it runs perfectly, but we don't know for sure because our data set is so large. So how can we actually make sure that it's running correctly? Okay, so in order to see the effect of the result, we can run another query, which is, let's say, we can use the select distinct here. So select distinct, let's say from the column destination, we want to make sure from one column instead of all columns. So let's say select distinct destination from, and now you're gonna want to add parentheses. Okay. Now let's say select again. This might sound confusing, but just wait to see the result. Okay, select star again from data set 1 again. Okay, and again union here. Union. Also select star from table to union here. Okay. 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 So now, as you can see, we've run the union, we've done the union perfectly because we have 2 tables stacked on top of each other, because this value didn't exist in our data set 1, in the destination column. And we use the distinct to remove all the duplicates. So here for the destination and for the destination from data set 1 and the table to union table, we've combined them together to get the distinct values using the select distinct command. And the union. There are also other things to do, like we can do advanced filtering, which is also awesome. Another awesome thing to do. We can say select from, okay, let's say select again all data values from data set 1 again, where, let's say weather, like sun. Okay, just let me type in that and explain it in a bit. Okay. Okay. Now hit run. Okay. So as you can see, the values in the weather column, we only displayed the sunny. and the like operator or the is done for advanced filtering. And what you're basically doing that you don't have to type in the whole string of characters, but I only typed in sun, and it brought out all the values in the weather column that had the SUN part, which is all sunny. It also can be done for multiple columns. Okay, so again, the like operator brings in all the data, and the percentage sign right here means that the retrieved data must include the string of character, all string of characters that are mentioned. So again, the SUN, the sun, brought out all the sunny weather. And this is it. I hope you learned a bit about what SQLite is, the process of data analysis, and يعني, I hope you all enjoyed this workshop. If you guys have any questions, any further questions, I'm here to answer. Here I've written my email here. You can contact me, or you can ask me through the chat. I'm here to listen.